I guess all talented people are a bit peculiar. It's part of their charm. That's a quote by Alice Adams. And what I take that to mean is that some people who have certain talents tend to be a bit eccentric. A few examples of people like that might be, let's go with Lady Gaga. When you think of Lady Gaga, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Maybe it's her meat dress or that music video where she's a goose. All kinds of different things that she's done seem really bizarre, but would she be as eye-catching without them? I mean, she could ride her talent alone, which is quite a bit. She's a really good singer, and a lot of her music is inspirational. But would she be as famous if she wasn't so weird? Now, that might be the reason for her rise to stardom. However, there are other people who are equally as talented and not so bizarre. Let's see, can I even think of an example? No, I can't. You know what? They're all pretty darn bizarre. I guess I agree completely with the quote. How about another example then? Miley Cyrus. She's been really weird lately. She cut her hair, she dyed it, and she rode a wrecking ball naked. Isn't that fun? Let's take a moment to compare Lady Gaga and Miley Cyrus. Lady Gaga tends to be a little bit more tasteful, at least I think so, in her bizarreness, whereas Miley Cyrus seems to be more about trying to be sexy. Like her performance at I think it was the VMAs, where she twerked on, what's his name? Robin Thicke, the guy who wrote that really awful song. I suppose my point is that some artists tend to be really weird, but they can be tastefully weird. And so there are different flavors of stardom. And that's it.
I don't want to knock you. Just don't laugh at me. You don't have copy this time, right?
I have no idea who that was. My phone never
The next
rings.
presenter saying that they left.
Never rings. I should say never.
My mom said that when she didn't know in the first she said, you know, she didn't answer. And I asked her, I don't know, mom, get the next year. I didn't answer. Mom said, it's important. It's like next question. You say, is that my number? And then you got the correct place. You look for calls with her phone.
She got some.
Yeah. We should probably start here. My sister for a little while. Older than other family, and sister was 16. She was like to tell me stuff like going on in the world. And they would always go,
All right, when
I thought that it was a little awkward starting with the quote. It could be a little bit more engaging, but you had a good first example that you started with. There's not really a structure set up for the presentation, and because you don't really have a structure and a plan, you actually end up changing the point that you're making during the speech, and everybody sees that you're doing that, which is not a bad thing. You know what? Now that I think about it, I can't think of anybody who fits in that other category, so they are all a little weird. All right, which is perfectly fine. What I liked at the end of the speech, I think you came up with a good idea for what your thesis ought to be. That all of them are a little bit weird, but they're all in slightly different colors or tastes. And then use those as the illustrations for your speech. Think of the ones who do outrageous things. Think of the ones who say outrageous things. Think of the ones that are famous because they have been caught in compromising positions or something like that makes them look really odd. And then you can fit in a few examples into those categories. Like I said, it's one of those things, everybody's going to give a better speech in the car on the way home. I think you'll think of all those things that you could have talked about today. The two examples that you had, Miley Cyrus and Lady Gaga, they're both pretty damn weird. And I think they fit in with the example that you're talking about fine. Your voice is okay. It could project a little bit more forcefully and maybe with a little bit more variety, but I think you're doing okay. The pacing sometimes seems a little hesitant at times, and I think that's because you're thinking about things. Your gestures are limited. You have a few indicators, and you need to be a little bit more outgoing there. Your facial expressions are animated. You have pretty good eye contact with at least part of the audience, but don't forget that there are all these people sitting over there, and you ought to pay attention to them as well. And like I said, I kind of like the thing that you had at the conclusion. It seemed to me like that was a good direction to go. If you'd gotten there at the beginning of the speech, I think you'd have found the speech would be a little bit more full for you. All right, thank you.